Honesty is the best policy, but it is not guaranteed that it will be a worthy one. When you are honest, it doesn't mean that you are not scoundrel or a wild creature or a wicked creature. With that, I would like to welcome you because I had to introduce this video in this way because we have a character who has the similar character, similar personality. First of all, how are you? I hope you are good. So now we will discuss book 3, chapter 3rd and 4th together, just briefly. And the book is The Brother Karamazov. So the chapter is titled The Confession of a Passionate Heart. It is about Dmitri and his discussion with Alyosha. He opens up and starts talking about his past to Alyosha. In the beginning, Dmitri says that he is a base creature, he is a wild creature. He admonishes himself for his vileness. He agrees that, and he says that he is honest and he is vile as well. So in the beginning, he is in a picnic party, and there are so many people, boys and girls. So in this party, they go to some place, there is darkness, and there is a girl on his side, and he kisses that girl in the dark night. The girl doesn't say anything, neither she hesitates. So next day, the girl expects that Dmitri, she thought that he would be in love with her. She thought that he would offer her a marriage proposal, but it doesn't happen like that. Dmitri doesn't talk to her and he remains silent for a while. After 6 months, the girl gets married and she goes off forever. So this is one example of Dmitri's baseness, his vileness, his depravity, his moral corruption. And now we should talk about the main point of our conversation. There are two main points, but we have to talk a brief detail before that, which is quite significant. Otherwise, our story will have no value. Dmitri says that when he was a lieutenant, he had a colonel. That colonel was quite against his interest, and he disliked Dmitri too much. That colonel was married twice. Both his wives had been dead, and the colonel had two daughters. He had one daughter from his first wife, and the name of that daughter is Agafya Ivanova, and he had another daughter from his second wife, that is Katerina, nickname is Katya Ivanova. So at that time, Katya is not in the town, so he is quite in intimate terms with Agafya. He is just friends, and he puts this in parenthesis. So after some time, Katya comes to the town, and Dmitri doesn't like her too much because he thinks that she is too proud, too educational, she has intellect. So I would like to read a passage in this regard. Yet, when the young lady came from boarding school on a visit, the whole town revived. Our most distinguished ladies, two excellencies, and a colonel's wife, and all the rest following their lead, at once took her up and gave entertainments in her honor. She was the ballet of the balls and picnics, and they got up tableaux vivants, this is in French, in aid of distressed cornices. I took no notice. I went on as wildly as before, and one of my exploits at the time set all the town talking. I saw her eyes taking my measure one evening at the battery's commander's, but I didn't go up to her as though I disdained her acquaintance. I did go up and speak to her at an evening party not long after. She scarcely looked at me and compressed her lips scornfully. Wait a bit, I will have my revenge, thought I. I behaved like an awful fool on many occasions at that time, and I was conscious of it myself. What made it worse was that I felt that Katenka was not an innocent boarding school miss, but a person of character, proud and really high principled. Above all, she had education and intellect, and I had neither. You think I meant to make her an offer? No, I simply wanted to revenge myself because I was such a hero and she didn't seem to feel it. So, as you can see, the difference of personalities between Katerina and Dmitri. And after this incident, Dmitri gets 6,000 rubles from his father in a final settlement by signing an IOU. At that time, Dmitri doesn't pay any heed to this agreement and he was in his own fancy. So now there is a scandal as Katya's father, the army finds that his father has stolen some money from the army coffers amounts to 4,500 ruble. So hearing this news, his father immediately falls sick. He goes to bed and remains there for some time. Meanwhile, as Dmitri has received this money, he talks to Agafya and he says that your father is in trouble. He has stolen money. In the beginning, at first, Agafya doesn't believe him and she shouts at him. In this way, she just doesn't believe in his saying, and then Dmitri says that he can save his father only on one condition, if she manages to send Katya to his place. So this is a wild move and a base one, and immediately Agafya shouts at him and goes away from him. And she also tells this to Katya and to her aunt as well. I don't know exactly, but she shares this with Katya, and that is for sure. And at one point, nothing happens, and the life goes on as usual. But suddenly, at one point of time, after a few days, there comes an orderly from the army, and he delivers this message to the colonel that he has to return the money within 2 hours. Suddenly, his father, who always loses his control, he tries to commit suicide by putting a bullet in his head or in his chest, I'm not sure. And Agafya, who was just outside at that moment, she saved his father from this deadly act. Then immediately Katya goes to Dmitri's place and she tells him that now she is here and give the money to her. And Dmitri at once he is in shock. Actually, you can see the situation. So he thinks a lot because Katerina is trembling at this stage. He is there in front of him, quivering, trembling, and in a feverish state. Dmitri at once takes a different course and says that he is joking. He won't pay more than $200 rubles. I'm just lost. 200 rubles. He can't pay more than that. She is crazy. How can she expect 4,500? But Katya doesn't say anything. She remains at her place and she stays there for a while. And Dmitri curses himself in this period, and Dmitri thinks a lot and ponders, and at one point he starts hating Katya. I don't know why he hates her at this moment, but he kinds of find himself in this position. And then at once he goes to his drawer, he opens the dictionary where he has this 6,000 rubles from his father, and he immediately gives this amount to he gives, I think, a 5,000 rubles note to Katya. And then Katya bows him a very Russian bow, a very low bow, almost bending to his feet. And then she goes back, she runs away. Dmitri, I would like to read a few lines in this regard as the lines are very interesting. He says that I went to the window, put my forehead against the frozen pane, and I remember the ice burnt my forehead like fire. I didn't keep her long. Don't be afraid. I turned round, went up to the table, opened the drawer, and took out a banknote for 5,000 rubles. It was lying in a French dictionary. Then I showed it her in silence, folded it, handed it to her, opened the door into the passage, and stepping back, made her a deep bow, a most respectful, a most impressive bow. Believe me, she shuddered all over, gazed at me for a second, turned horribly pale, white as a sheet, in fact, and all at once, not impetuously but softly, gently, bowed down to my feet, not a boarding school courtesy but a Russian bow, with her forehead to the floor. She jumped up and ran away. I was wearing my sword. I drew it and nearly stabbed myself with it on the spot. Why, I don't know. It would have been frightfully stupid, of course. I suppose it was from delight. Can you understand that one might kill oneself from delight? So at this point, I really thought for a moment, is it really possible to kill oneself from delight? Sometimes I think that sometimes in life we are so happy that on some occasions, especially when, like, if you have received a marriage proposal that you have sent earlier and in positive light, then you are definitely very happy because you are going to be married, and in on another occasion you asked someone to be your girlfriend or something like that, and the person agrees, then it is one of the best moments of your life. And I think in that moment you will definitely want to kill yourself from happiness. And I think in this position that was the condition of uh, Dimitri's Dimitri's condition at that time. So I think there is more to say, but it will take some time. And after some days, Katya's father dies, and after some days, Katya offers a marriage proposal to Dmitri with utmost sincerity. But Dmitri wants to reject this proposal. He says that Katya is noble and he is base, and there is no match. And there is a passage to read, but I think the video will be too long. But I think this is the story or the crux about these two chapters. And when you read it, you will find it as interesting as I have found reading this. And with that, give me your permission and I will talk something more. And good day. Take care.